more than brave. But if it's one thing, afraid horn, afraid horn, afraid horn bad, afraid horn. To me, afraid but bad, afraid but afraid horn, afraid horn, afraid horn bad, afraid horn. To me, afraid but bad, afraid but. You must be think horn easy. You must be think horn pretty. You must be think horn sweet now. You must be think horn nice. You will never be the same again. Will never be right in your brain again. Look what horn to me good friend. Have them eating out a garbage bin. You can't say you never try to warn you then. You get foolish and play brave again. If you're in a good relationship, good for you. I know that I am in one, but when I see what people go through, Lord, afraid horn, afraid horn, afraid horn bad, afraid horn. To me, afraid but bad, afraid but afraid horn, afraid horn, afraid horn bad, afraid horn. To me, afraid but bad, afraid but. You must be think horn easy. You must be think horn pretty. You must be think horn sweet now. You must be think horn nice. Your life could be a mess, full of nothing but heartache and stress. Oh yo yo yo, mind you end up in the jail, my friend. Mind come and son be your last meal. Sometimes even when you behave yourself, not even have eyes for nobody else. You get a piece of horn in your tail. Do you know how that feels? Just look at my friend, that's why afraid horn, afraid horn, afraid horn bad, afraid horn. To me, afraid but bad, afraid but afraid horn, afraid horn, afraid horn bad, afraid horn. To me, afraid but bad, afraid but. You must be think horn easy. You must be think horn pretty. You must be think horn sweet now. You must be think horn nice. Warn them, serious thing.
Somebody say,
If I feel like when I feel like I don't drink until I drunk. When we party we no normal, we just push things to the ground. We just tear up in the country and the legal in the town. We make the place rumble like when Sufe erupt. The whole place erupt. Like when Sufe erupt. The whole place erupt. Boom.
Good morning, members of the media, valued stakeholders, colleagues, our viewing audience, and friends of the Carnival Development Corporation. On behalf of the Board of Directors, management, and staff of the CDC, we warmly welcome you to our post-Carnival press conference. We are sincerely grateful that you have taken the time to join us this morning as we reflect on what has been an exciting Vincimas 2025 season. Today's press conference is not just our customary wrap-up, but a moment to acknowledge the tremendous efforts, the commitment, and collaboration of all our partners that has made this year's festival a success. This morning, we will share key highlights on this year's event and our aim in improving in the future. Once again, thank you. Now, this morning, I have two of the point persons of the CDC, Mr. Ricardo Adams, Chairman of the Carnival Development Corporation, and Mr. Rodney Small, CEO of the CDC. Now we'll go straight into it and start with some words from the chairman, Mr. Ricardo Adams.
Thank you, Juanita. Members of the media, stakeholders of Vincimas, members of the CDC, office staff and support personnel, everyone listening to us, all fans of Vincimas, good morning. As you can tell from my voice, it's been a long and wonderful season. And I just want to say, wow, thank you, Vincimas 2025. This morning, I'm going to take a little time to basically say a few words of appreciation to complete Vincimas 2025. We know the challenges that we faced last year, and this year, I believe there was more than compensation, because even the regular showers that normally interfere with the Vincimas didn't have the significant impact this year. So we must give thanks that the Almighty, through His guidance of nature, allowed us to have a wonderful festival this year. The second set of people that I want to single out are the members of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. It was, from all reports, a season free of violence, and when we sell Vincimas internationally, we sell Vincimas as an intimate, high-energy, very safe carnival. And I think I felt safe walking through the streets of Kingstown at all hours, going to all events, because of what was the obvious calming presence of the Royal St. Vincent and the Grenadines Police Force. So I really want to send a special thank you to them for all the assistance that we got this year. The next set of people I want to single out, and I'm going to miss people, and then I'll probably get some abuse for that. But the next set of people I want to single out are the people from public health. When you can leave Juve at 9:30, 10 o'clock in the morning, in the state that Kingstown was, and come back into town at 2 o'clock for Monday evening T-shirt mass and meet a clean Kingstown welcoming you, I think that is a tremendous effort. And every year they do it, and sometimes maybe we take it for granted. But I think in particular this year, I think they did a phenomenal job of keeping the streets clean, moving from event to event. And so we really need to express our appreciation to them. The components. I think the challenge was put out this year to the components from very early, that we need to step up our game, and they delivered. Pan had, somebody said to me that one of the best pan renditions on a Vinci stage happened on the night of Steel and Glitter. I don't know, I'm not a pan aficionado, I'm not a pan judge, but I certainly commend the performances. Right through the day, right through the evening, it was a full day of steel pan, a full day of mass, and I think really they stepped up to the plate. I think the gap is closing. It's obvious the gap is closing between the traditional powerhouses and the other pan sides, steel orchestras as they now like to be called. And so I think it's important that we recognize and commend them for the effort that they made. Calypso finals, well, from going back to the tents had a different vibe this year, particularly on the preliminaries night. The Calypso semifinals faced some challenges, and one of the perhaps it's a good challenge to have, was that we didn't have enough space in the venue for the number of persons who came out. And so that presented us with a little bit of a challenge, and it presents an opportunity for us to enhance the space next year. But on the finals night, to me, it was one of the most keen Calypso finals competition that we've had in a while. There were quite a number of the artists who could have come away with the crown. congrats to Madzat who repeated. But again, the challenges are coming, and they're coming fast. In terms of soca, well, what do we say about Soca Monarch this year? I was met by a gentleman last night who held on to my hand and almost didn't want to let it go, because he was telling me about the goose pimples that he experienced on the night of Soca Monarch. And again, everybody brought their A game, and we've seen a return to the energy and the passion of Vincy people where Soca Monarch is concerned. Mass, again, we had a large number of visitors participating in the bands this year, and we've seen somewhat of a changing of the guard. I mean, everybody knows that my band has been my band for the longest while, but it's no longer the top 2 or top 3 people that you could easily predict, but we now have the emergence of some of the other bands challenging for the top positions. But most importantly, I think the patrons, when we saw them going through the Victoria Park, when we saw them on the road, the masqueraders were having a good time. And for years we've been saying, Mass is not only about the costume, it's about the experience on the road. And I think that message is coming across quite clearly. So we really have to give kudos to the mask bands who are stepping up to the plate where that is concerned. I really want to mention, and perhaps I shouldn't, because if and when she does explode, somebody will say it was because I said so. But I really want to mention the emerging act Lexi this year. Lexi, I think, has challenged for a space among the top performers in the soca arena, and from at such a young age, the maturity, the experience, not only on stage, but the social media experience, the social media presence that she's demonstrating, bodes well for the future. Bongo Prime has become the Raga Soca Monarch, and very close to becoming the Soca Monarch. So again, the investment in our youth has to continue, because the youth are the ones who are going to ensure that Vincy Mass continues through the years. So congratulations to the emerging youth in Vincy Mass, so that we can continue to keep the culture alive. The music this year was fantastic. It was the first time on the road when everybody could say that they heard multiple songs being played. There was no complaint they're playing one song over and over and over. And that's because we had quite a large variety of songs, some really unorthodox songs, some songs that nobody could say, well, you copied something, because when you have the Whale for Sea and the Red Button, and there was another one, I can't remember which one.
The horn.
No, not even the horn. There was a third one. It will come to me. But
No sleeping.
No Sleeping, right? Those are unorthodox soca songs that that speaks to the creativity of our young people in the soca industry. Obviously, we recognize the international stardom of the Skinny Fabulous and the Problem Child, and so. But there's also an authenticity in our music that is there that we really must appreciate. Juve Morning, the return of the Monkey Band, again, a CDC-supported initiative. I think next year that is going to be twice or 3 times or 4 times the size, because people were able to re-immerse themselves in the traditional Juve culture. And while we still really appreciate and support the social commentary side of the Juve, the Monkey Band on the streets this year for the first time at that level for a long time really brought back a spectacle to the Juve parade on the streets. Of course, the Monday bands, very well attended, large. We may have to find some way to extend Kingstown next year to fit the number of people who here supporting it. But we really want to say thanks again to the Monday bands that continue to come out and continue to support. Because as we recognize, the Monday T-shirt band is something that is very much Vincy Mas, very much part of our culture and history of Vincy Mas. The private promoters, again, you go to the events, these events now compete with any event internationally, anywhere in the world where private events are concerned. And over the years, and I think the CEO alluded to it earlier this year, over the years, we've been kind of accused of fighting private promoters. We've always said that that is not our position. This year, we've been a lot more collaborative. We've had a lot more discussions with the private promoters from very early. By and large, the private promoters have cooperated, and working together, we have seen how people can hop from event to event to event to event and fill their entire days with not only the private events, not only the visits to the Grenadines and the La Soufrières and the country tours and the bus rides and whatever, but also with the full gamut of the entertainment across the period. So again, thank you for working with us, and we hope that that collaboration will grow from strength to strength next year and the years going forward. There's going to be a challenge for Vincy Mas next year, and I think we're already recognizing it, we're already talking about it, and that is the ability for our service providers nationally to be able to support the increase in the numbers, the size, and the complexity of events. And so that is something that we're going to have to, and when I say service providers, I'm not only talking about sound systems, but I'm talking about the people doing the bars, I'm talking about the people doing the decorations, I'm talking about the car rental agencies, everybody who comes together to ensure that the visitors to Vincy Mas and the Vincy Mas local representatives have a fantastic time. So that is something that we're going to be in early discussion on, because we have to make sure that when we put out a Vincy Mas, that across the entire spectrum, it presents the kind of quality that we want to sell to the world as being Vincy Mas. I just want to thank all of the visitors who came to St. Vincent and the Grenadines for Vincy Mas 2025. Some were scheduled to come last year and couldn't for whatever reason. The sentiment for a lot of people is that this remains the gem that they never knew existed. There were a lot of people who came here for the first time who were saying, why haven't we come before? And certainly we will be coming back, and we will be coming back and bringing others with us, because the experience that we've had, we really enjoyed, we felt safe, we felt loved by the Vincentian community, and we felt the energy that is Vincy Mas. So again, thank you all for coming. Thank you to the Vincentian public for being such wonderful hosts. And really, we want you to be back here next year on June 26th to July 7th, when we host Vincy Mas 2026 and continue to show the world why we are called the hottest carnival in the Caribbean. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. And indeed, let me echo those sentiments of thanks to the various moving parts that he spoke of earlier, and in particular, our sponsors, who I had the opportunity to come in direct contact with this year. And just to name them for you again, the Government of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, the National Properties, St. Vincent Brewery Limited, the East Caribbean Group of Companies, Flow, Acado, Agricultural Import Warehouse, the Bank of St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Vinlec, and our media houses, Nice Radio, VC3, Star, MBC Radio, Boom FM, We FM, and Hot 97, as well as the St. Vincent, the Grenadines Broadcasting Corporation. Special mention is also made to the Teachers Cooperative Credit Union. Now, as we proceed, I will now introduce the CEO, Mr. Rodney Small of the Carnival Development Corporation, to make his remarks.
All right, thank you, Madam Chair, and a pleasant good morning to those viewing online and hearing my voice. Mr. Chairman, the Board of Directors of the CDC, the media, especially invited guests, good morning. The chairman said wow in his beginning statement, and I would also want to borrow wow a couple of times. Wow, 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 wow. From myself and the entire staff at the CDC office, we would also like to take this opportunity to say a major thank you to all the stakeholders and all those persons who are responsible for making Vincent Mass 2025 a huge success. I would not repeat some of the names that he mentioned, because I think he did a fairly good job with thanking the persons who are responsible. But I would go a bit further and highlight some other key persons who were instrumental in making Vincent Mass 2025 a success. And not just only the 10 or the 12 days of Carnival, but even from the rural Carnival season. So I would like to take this opportunity to say a major thank you to the rural coordinator, Mr. Dale Morris, and his entire team for making rural carnivals a great success. I think the rural carnival has always been the season that really creates the atmosphere and the environment going into the 10 or the 12 days of Vincent Mass. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank all the members of the Vincent Mass and the Carnival Development Corporation staff. I mean, persons would not understand the type of hours and work goes into the office on a daily basis. And you're talking about coming into work from 8 a.m. and leaving when an event is done, which is about 2 a.m. and 3 a.m. and coming back at 8 a.m. the next day, back to back. So I want to say a major thank you to the staff at the CDC office. And I mean, the work that you put in is priceless, but nevertheless, we were able to get it done. I also want to take this opportunity to say a special thank you to the management and staff at AIA who collaborated with us activation when our visitors and returning nationals were coming home to create that atmosphere for them as they come off of their long flight and coming into St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And special mention must be made to Mr. Jekyll Mars, the creative director behind that activation, and again, the staff at the AIA. So I want to say a major big up to them in particular. Also, the tongue board, the members and the management and staff at the tongue board for also being a part of some of the conversation about how we can make Kingstown look good again in terms of the decor, the cleaning up. There's still some stuff that we would like to work on in terms of implementing bathrooms and toilets around Kingstown. Something, a conversation that we started already for 2026. How do we look at seating in and around Kingstown for those persons who are coming in, specifically for Monday and Tuesday? That conversation has started already. So I want to say thank you to Marlon and his team at Tongue Board. I mean, persons can appreciate when we walk around Kingstown, the amount of food vendors and icebox operators we saw. It was really tremendous because food must sell and food have to be available for our patrons. I also want to take this opportunity to thank all the committees of the CDC. The protocol committee, I want to say thank you. The shows and marketing committee, I want to say thank you. Those who are in the private security department, I want to say thank you. It's just a lot of moving parts, and persons must know the persons who are responsible for these different areas. And there are some key persons who we tend to forget or not mention, and you would not see them on the front line. I want to take this opportunity to thank them, the stage management crew, who was headed by Shank Batiste. I want to say thank you to them. They were the ones who were responsible for managing the shows and managing what happens on stage. So I want to big them up. I want to big up Mr. Anderson Bell Paris, our technical director. I think he has been around for quite a while. He's supposed to be a bit too long, but his dedication and commitment has always been tremendous and priceless to the Carnival product, Vincent Mars. I want to say a major thank you to him. And most importantly, I want to say thank you to the entire work men, the entire work crew here in Victoria Park, from National Lotteries and Rupert and his crew for the hard work that they continue to put in to make our venues what they are today. So I want to say a major big up to that particular crew, those crew, for their work that they've done. I want to just highlight and to present to the public some very important things and some things that you may not know about the CDC. What I would open my statement by saying, Vincent Mars is no longer a seasonal festival. We are going to, and let me take this opportunity to welcome our Honorable Minister. You know, he's quite a busy man, and I know he's trying to touch all aspect and everything before he heads to Cabinet today. So let me welcome our Minister, and I would be very brief because I know him before we end this press conference. But what I was saying is that Vincent Mars is no longer going to be a seasonal thing. We at the CDC office, we have outlined a 4-phase strat plan that is going to start from as early as September. Of course, after we have completed all of our evaluations and our debriefings and post-mortem, we're going to start the ball rolling from as early as September. Quite naturally, our marketing will continue as we speak now, because I know Ezzy and Janad from Project Food, they still have some marketing stuff that they're doing, because we have a lot of regional and international media houses and influencers here for Vincent Mars. So I think they're wrapping up those interviews and what's not. But what I could tell you, from as early as September, we are going to look at our 4 phases, and these phases include planning and foundation, capacity building and training, networking and community engagement, marketing and pre-season events. All right, and those phases are going to commence as early as September, and they would include things like planning retreats, roundtable conversation, debriefing, team assignments, looking at the different departments, budgeting, of course, because we're heading into the advanced period with the central government. We want to look at some boot camp stuff with our components, some bonding sessions, of course, with some of our artists, and not just artists as singers, but everybody who is a performer, looking at connecting with the different carnivals throughout the region and internationally, not just the usual suspects, but to see how we can move into some other borders that we have not been in touch with. And of course, looking at the overall launch of Vincent Mars in the different territories. And as I said, from a month-to-month basis, you can expect to see activities from the Carnival Development Corporation office, Vincent Mars, because we want to keep the energy up. We want to keep things alive. We do not want to go to sleep and then wake up around May. As the song says, no sleeping. So as I said, we are going to be in your faces. We're going to be engaging you. And as I mentioned, engaging you, right now you can go on our social media platforms, our surveys right there. So take a minute and go and fill out the survey. Give us your feedback, because as I said, from September we want to start implementing a lot of different things. We're going to be looking at policies, just to solidify a lot of the things that we do here at the CDC. So it's really an exciting time. There's no downtime for the CDC, which I would want to put there. Our doors are still open. You can come in and give your suggestions. I've seen persons came in yesterday and started the conversation about 2026, and we're ready to have the conversation. And most importantly, we're going to be doing a lot of monitoring and evaluation of the things that we do. So I in a nutshell, I hope I have not forgotten anybody, but we wouldn't be able to remember everybody at this particular time. But I think I've mentioned the major stakeholders. Our sponsors, the private promoters, our components. It has been a great time working with you. And for the 4 months that I've been in this seat, it has been a really good time. I mean, really, really good time. And I'm looking forward to all of the continued support from the staff and all those persons who will make Vincent Mas great again. So as I said, we're starting a lot of our work as of early as September. And I'm really asking the general public, feel free to reach out to us. You bring your ideas. We won't be able to implement everything at once, but we will try to see how much we can facilitate some of these ideas. Finally, I would want to put this bit of information out there. The CDC is also responsible. We are the secretariat and managing body for Carry Festa. So we're not just an organization that is just sitting around and waiting for Vincent Mas, but there are quite a number of things that we manage and we spearhead. So Carry Festa is one of those other things that we manage and coordinate, which is going to be hosted on August 23rd to August 31st. So we have started that work already, coming directly off of Vincent Mas. And then we are also the secretariat for the Independence Celebration, which we have started some conversation about it, where we want to go. I know the minister have outlined what he would like to see for independence, and that is something that is going to also be major for us here at Vincent Mas at CDC, and I can guarantee you that it's going to be great also dealing with that. And then quite naturally, we're going to, after the independence period, we're going to go back fully into Vincent Mas and see how we can also collaborate with the 9 Mornings Committee for the Christmas season. But all in all, a major thank you to everyone. We would continue to give you as much press briefing to keep you in the loop, to use that phrase. But as I said, now go out and fill out the survey. Let us know your feedback. And again, let's make Vincent Mas greater than 2025. Thank you.
Thank you, CEO Rodney Small. You have shared your thank yous and kind words to everyone. Let me also take this opportunity, and on behalf of persons who may not have been able to thank you personally for your work, your professionalism, commitment, leadership, all have been an excellent experience. And I believe persons were aware that the festival would have been a good one, but what they experienced was beyond their expectations. And we would like to thank you for an amazing experience, and we are already looking forward to 2026. Now, we are graced with the presence of our Minister of Tourism, Civil Aviation, Sustainable Development and Culture, Honorable Carlos James, who will say his remarks at the moment.
Thank you very much, Juanita, and let me say good morning to members of the media, those who are listening via the various platforms of VC3, API, and of course, NBC Radio. I want to use this opportunity to begin really in a very blessing and sanctifying way. I want to say the board and management of the Carnival Development Corporation, I think this year outdid themselves in terms of the mandate that we set and their performance and execution of what we consider to be one of the best Vincent Mas we've had in years. In fact, when we, from a policy level, said, look, we want to have the best carnival we've ever had in a very long time, we set out on the framework of firstly building capacity and working collaboratively with all of the stakeholders. Very often we sometimes assume that Carnival is really the CDC, but Carnival and the CDC involves all of the stakeholders and components that makes up Vincent Mas. And I would say that this year we had some exceptional support from all of the stakeholders and the components within the festival. The chairman and the board provided very good support to the CEO and his team, and I want to use this opportunity to commend Rodney as the incoming CEO, new CEO of the Carnival Development Corporation, for the excellent execution of what we would consider one for the history books in terms of this year's Vincent Mas. We looked at, again, the support from corporates in Vincent and the Grenadines, there was a lot more engagement and collaboration. They also went a bit deeper in their pockets this year. And to really pull off a festival of this magnitude requires resources. And of course, I listened to Juanita. I think what we have gotten the formula right this year, and we have to continue in the transformation to further refine it to ensure that the standard and quality of what we put out as a package, as a product, is one that, of course, is unmatched anywhere in the world. And I think, by and large, we really did well. I don't want to just really continue to ask Vincentians, let us support the Carnival Development Corporation. And I mentioned it before, that the CDC is not just the staff here at Victoria Park in the office. They are our masked men. The CBI, they have a seat at the table on the board. There are our Calypsonians and soca artists. They have the Calypso Association. They have a city president is here. They have a seat at the table as well. They are our pan sides and orchestras, because Yolo Pan also have a seat on the board. So when you talk about what is the CDC doing, and this is the CDC this and the CDC that, it is really the components who make up the directorate of the Carnival Development Corporation, guided by the staff who's here, who are executing that policy. But we have seen where there's a buy-in now, and that I think we have really added some elements in terms of the staff. We've reached out a bit more to corporates in Vincent and the Grenadines, all of the sponsors. We've reached out to the stakeholders a bit more. There have been a lot of dialogue, a lot of collaboration. And I think what makes the success of Vincimas really rests on the collaboration among stakeholders who are involved in the festival. It's not a competition. It's not a competition between individual stakeholders or CDC versus stakeholders, or radio stations versus CDC, or promoters versus. It is a combination of factors, the chemistry of stakeholders working together, sharing the platform, sharing the spaces, sharing the time and also the setup, the product and the packaging and the marketing of what Vincimas is. And once there's that level of collaboration, that level of support across the board, and it has to be two-way, I can guarantee you that the team that we have here executing at the office here at CDC is going to ensure that there's a great level of support to stakeholders and vice versa, so we can ensure that we continue to have a very good Vincimas. We are going to continue from a government level, from a cabinet level, and from a ministerial level to give full support to the Carnival Development Corporation. There's no doubt in my mind that this is perhaps one of the best teams we have ever assembled in the history of our carnivals. And I am going to continue personally to give them my full support as a minister. I will continue to give them my full support, because going into next year, I'm hoping to be back here as Minister of Culture and as Minister of Tourism and Civil Aviation and all of the ancillary parts of the ministry. Because they say if it ain't break, don't fix it. So we continue to do good work. And if tourism is taking off and we're doing excellent work in tourism, and if we've now found the formula for Vincimas and the product of what it is, and we continue to do good work there, and we've pulled together a good team in its execution, then if it ain't break, we don't need to fix it, Kaba. And we'll just continue to give good support. So I intend to be back here and to continue the work that we've started in the overall transformation of what festivals are going to be. And I want to say this to the media and to the general public, that we're moving into a space and a period for tourism where I am going to look at the calendar of activities. And this is also including different components of the art form, including drumming and the traditional components of the art form. Every month, there must be something major to look forward to in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. There must be something that is driving visitors to the destination, and there must be something that even Vincentians themselves are looking forward to. And we have to build our capacity and spread it a bit wider to ensure that we continue to provide a lot more support to the National Cultural Foundation, the Carnival Development Corporation, the Tourism Authority, the Department of Culture, all of the components that are responsible for building out cultural festivals within the country. We're going to give a lot more support and put a lot more emphasis on activities. So immediately coming off of this carnival, and just to conclude on the carnival point, and I see a board member here who's also charged with the responsibility for rural carnivals. We have to look at how we can revisit the rural carnivals and to have a lot more of the traditional components represented across the board. I can't remember the last time we had a calypso competition in a rural carnival. And we had it in St. George's, and we've had it in St. George's for a while, but you look at North Leeward and on the windward side and so on. We have to see how we can spread it a bit wider. We have to see how we can spread pan to have a large representation of the pan sides coming from the rural areas as well. And we have to, of course, also look at how we can expand our beauty pageants within the rural carnival to have a breeding ground for pageantry in the country. And of course, while we highlight the glowing things, permit me to also, look at some of the things where we had some gaps and how we can improve on them. So we have to obviously find the resources, and of course, it is going to boil down to a resource issue as well. And we have to see how we can find the resources to put a lot more into our rural carnivals. So that rural carnivals is not just a representation of putting a truck on the road and jumping and waving, but you're going to have elements of the components that makes up Vincy Mas and what it is, represented across the board in every rural district across St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And that is something that I am putting the board and the management of CDC on the spot now to immediately flag and highlight and how we can start from this year to put the necessary framework in place to have that realized going into 2026. But coming off of the carnival, and by the end of this month, in fact next week, Koja, we are going to launch one of the biggest international cricket festivals we've ever had in the history of the Caribbean cricket, I would say, not just in Vincent and the Grenadines. We're hoping by next week, early next week, and of course Rodney, who's here, also has a role to play in that, because 2 years ago we had a one family concert which was surrounding the celebration of our Caribbean civilization and as a people. And we do it around August, which is tying into the theme of emancipation. And we have to look at how we are going to marry sports tourism, but also with festivals. And the cultural components of that and parts of that are going to come out as well. So we intend to have, you will hear about it very soon within the next couple of days, an Emancipation Cricket Festival, which is going to field international cricketers from as far as Bangladesh, West Indies cricketers from the region, cricketers from England, cricketers from the United States, and of course, international cricketers who are going to come here. And we're going to use the opportunity to identify and recognize our West Indies legends of the 1975 World Cup game, who have accepted the invitation to come here to St. Vincent and the Grenadines with us. They're going to be here with us over that tournament. And we're going to see one of the biggest international cricket tournaments, festivals we've ever had in the entire region. And we're going to marry culture, because we're going to have some entertainment with that, local entertainment and international entertainment as part of the packaging. And I just wanted to put that out there. But we're streamlining those arrangements and putting them in place. And I'm tying that in to say almost every month of the year, we're going to build out calendar of activities that is going to ensure that we have quality entertainment, quality festivals and activities for locals and visitors who are coming to the shows of St. Vincent and the Grenadines to participate in. So of course, you look forward to that in October, in August, end of July into August, and of course in October, where we have our independence. Expect to see another big spectacle for our month of activities. The Independence Committee, they will very much assemble a team to start to put the plans in place for that very soon. We're hoping to have those arrangements in place. And we're moving into November again. We look at a number of festivals, including the Carnival Festival and the Night Mornings. And we're going to do this going into the new year. Every year we're going to every month we're going to look at a rollover of activities and so on. But we've started this summer with the June-July Festival. And I'm happy to say that I am confident and comfortable to say anywhere in the world that we have one of the best carnivals in the whole world, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Vincimas. It is a premier festival. And watch the space, because next year it is going to be even bigger and greater. And I want to thank each and every one of you who participated, those who supported the components, the shows, who came into the park, who supported, and those sponsors, corporate St. Vincent, everybody, the vendors. And I want to talk a little bit about the economic impact of this thing, because very often, even among serious people in the country, they don't look at Vincimas as a serious product that generates revenue. And I'm happy to let you know that we're looking at the numbers carefully, because when you look at the spin-off and the trickle-down effect of what Vincimas represents for our local economy, you're talking about not just the promoters, both public and private, as in CDC and the private promoters, but you're talking about the people, the service providers behind the scenes, the sound system operators, those who are dealing with trussing, those who are the audio engineers, the decor professionals. And then when you go into the businesses, the small business operators, you're talking about those who are into the designers. And I'm sure Juanita had a few designs made for activities and events this carnival. Women are now, they're going and spending $500 and $600 and $700 on a local designer wear. And I've done some beautiful dresses, and I've seen a lot of them, you know, on the paraded and so on. Lovely. The salons, the hairstylists, those who are doing the pedi and the manicures, even down to those who are selling ice, the ice vendors, those who are doing the food stalls on the roadsides. Yeah. The trickle-down effect, the taxi operators who also didn't sleep because they were 2 and 3 and 4 in the morning, you know, transporting visitors back and forth to Airbnbs and hotels and so on, the hoteliers. When you look at the trickle-down effect of the generation of revenue within the local economy for Vincimas, there is no other festival or no other period within the country that generates this amount of revenue for the ordinary working class people. Apart from when we may have a cruise ship that will come in during the cruise season. And a consistent, solid basis every day for the period of Vincimas, we generated a significant amount of resources. Millions of dollars were poured into the economy. And I want us to recognize that important point and the value that we put behind Vincimas. It is not just a product where we come and enjoy ourselves and we have a little drink, but it is the value, the economic impact of this product on the local economy and what it does for the economy around this period. And we have to also continue to recognize that and to really highlight the significance of festivals like Vincimas to the ordinary working class people who make an extra income and an extra dollar around this time. And I would say to you, even people in Beckwith felt the impact, because there are people who yesterday and today are sailing to Beckwith and to kind of one or other places to enjoy parts of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The bars and restaurants, they're making an extra dollar because of it. and the linkages that are created and generated. You don't think farmers are making more money because restaurants are producing more food? You don't think the drink companies are producing more to sell around this time? And these are the things that we have to recognize, that the linkages that are created and the benefits, the economic impact of Vincimas on the local economy is something that is unmatched and something that we ought to take seriously. And if they're right thinking Vincentians and economists who are looking at the trajectory of this thing, the growth of Vincimas is also the growth of the economy and the growth of the having foreign exchange in the hands of local workers. Because there's no faster way to put foreign exchange in the hands of Vincentians than when someone comes in at the Argyle International Airport, takes a taxi, pays in US currency. That US currency then goes sometimes to the supermarket, to the bars, to the restaurants, to the vendors on the streets, to the promoters, before it sometimes reaches the bank. And that is the trickle-down effect I'm talking about. That is the economic impact I'm talking about. And where we have, we don't have currency issues, but where we have cash in the hands, foreign exchange in the hands of Vincentians, and that is also signaling a positive impact on the economy and how we consider and look at revenue and expenditure and so on within the growth factors when you break them out in terms of the economic spin-off. And I again want to encourage Vincentians. Let us work together, just as we did during Vincimas, and everyone came together. There were no shades of disparity. There were no black and white or red and yellow or blue and green. What you had was a kaleidoscope of colors, everybody coming together. And I want to encourage Vincentians. Let us continue in this light. Let us focus on the positive things we can do as a people, as a country. And once we unite together as a country and we put our best resources forward, both in personnel and identifying, because as minister, my role here is to identify some of the best talents that are among us. And when the board appointed Rodney, and when Rodney, he himself pulled Juanita and a few of the other members of staff who are being borrowed from different departments, the Department of Culture within the ministry, you know, and Bumani, who's here, who was not just a creative but also has excellent quality managerial skills, as well as coming from the 9 Mornings committee, but also his managerial skills came out in Vincimas. And when we work with all of these stakeholders, and including the staff, the set workers and additional ancillary staff that came on at the CDC, Sue and her team in the secretariat, Lennox and other persons who played an important role with the chair of the board and so on. A lot of you didn't see them, but they were behind the scenes, sometimes up until 2 in the morning, 3 o'clock and 4 o'clock in the morning. One young man who is from North Leeward, I gave him a ride one day heading to North Leeward. He told me, I said, but how do you get back and forth from North Leeward to come and walk in the park? He said, man, I sleep in the park. And when he came in the vehicle, he fell asleep the same. As soon as he closed the door, he fell asleep. He said, but I love this walk. I love what I'm doing. And when you have people like that who are working sometimes sleepless nights to ensure that we pull off a successful festival, I want to thank each and every one of them. Because it's not just about the bragging rights of having one of the best carnivals in the world. It is the economic impact and the transformation of this festival on Vincimas, on the landscape of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and on the region, and what it does in terms of creating opportunities for us as a people. And I want to thank everybody, all of those who participated, who played, who were on the road, those who contributed. If you spent $1, if you came out, you supported any of the events and the shows, I want to thank you very much, because this Vincimas is one for our history books, and all of us, we're going to remember it. And I want to thank everybody who played an important part and role in that exercise. I thank you very much.
Thank you, Minister. And in simple dialect, let me say you talk with plenty sense, and not only with sense, with some dollars too. But on a more serious note, thank you again, Honorable Carlos James, for your continued interest in the development of culture in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. And we will personally like for you to convey our message to the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines and cabinet members for their contribution and interest in culture and the support that they have given to our festival this year. Now, you would have heard a couple of festivals and national events upcoming being mentioned. Let me also mention the Miss SVG pageant that is scheduled for November 1st, 2025. All of the details will follow. Like our rural carnivals, another important aspect of the Carnival Festival are the components. And we have here with us Mr. Earl Cabot-Bennett, President of the SVG National Calypso Association, to present a general overview of the various components. Mr. Bennett.
Thank you very much, Juanita. Let me acknowledge the presence of the Deputy Chair, Mr. Dylan Morris, members of staff who have worked diligently, the additional staff. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, wherever I am being seen and heard. Let me start. Well, Vincent Mass is a vibrant, bright festival, but I am starting here today on a sad note. And it is incumbent on me to recognize and pay homage to a stalwart in the Calypso fraternity. I speak of none other than Bentley Brown of the Upstage Experience, who sadly passed away recently. Bentley was instrumental in the creation of our strategic plan. He was a hard worker. He gave human service, not only to Calypso, but to culture as a whole. I want to take this opportunity to extend the St. Vincent and Grenadines Calypso Association, and indeed my deepest condolences to his family, his friends, the Calypso fraternity, and all who mourn. May he rest in peace. On a happier note, on the 8th, the chairman celebrated his birthday. And on the 9th, the Calypso King of the World was yesterday, Slinger Francisco, a.k.a. the Birdie, the Mighty Sparrow, celebrated his 90th birthday yesterday. So this is a bittersweet moment. I've already extended happy birthday to our chairman when it arrived, and I want to publicly again say, happy birthday, Ricky. The celebration continues. Oh, happy birthday. He's on the 8th, but happy birthday. No belated birthday, say. The entire July, you will celebrate your birthday. Blessings on you. You're a wonderful chairman. It is said that ingratitude is worse than witchcraft. There's not a better saying, because one ought to be thankful. Gratitude is a must. So says coffee, and I subscribe to that. The Calypso season, from all reports, was a success. But it wasn't successful because of Earl Cabot-Bennett, nor the St. Vincent and Grenadines Calypso Association executive. It was successful because of teamwork. Teamwork makes the dream work. And I am happy to report that we got support from the Calypsonians, from our sponsors, from patrons, and I want to thank you from the bottom of my heart. But I want to pause here. Although it has been said before, I want to echo it. CDC has a magnificent staff. And I want to acknowledge that. These ladies and gentlemen went beyond the call of duty. They made sacrifices. They worked diligently and relentlessly to ensure that Vincent Mars 2025 was a success. So behind the scenes, these persons worked and worked and worked. And I want to again clap you so everybody can say, our cabinet is saying thank you to the staff of the Carnival Development Corporation. I have a saying that all Calypsonians, and you know me not by now, that when I say Calypso, I speak about Kaiso, Raga Soca, our creation, and Soca. And I'm going to explain every artist who has written, who has produced, who has taken a microphone, each one of you is a winner. Come competition time, somebody or somebodies will wear the crown. They are crown monarchs. We had, for example, Aniek Stapleton, the junior monarch in the primary school category of Ibisham. We had Zion Lewis of the St. Joseph Convent, Kingstown, in the secondary school category. And we had the person everybody's speaking about, the rising star Lexi as the soca monarch. They walk around, but every other student also is a little princess and a little prince. They are all winners in my side. So too in the senior category. We had Mozart retain his crown. To all the others, you are winners, you are queens, you are king. We had Fire defending his crown along with Skinny Fabulous. They too are winners, but all the others are king and queens. Bongo Prime did well in the Raga Soca. He was crowned Raga Soca king. But all the others as well, you all are winners and kings and queens in my side. And I thank you again. I thank you for what you have done, what you are contributing to the upliftment of Calypso in St. Vincent and Grenadines. I often say, for the most part, Calypso is a labor of love. Believe you me, while the band that accompanies Calypsonians are guaranteed payment, the venue, just name them, the producers, the arrangers, they are guaranteed payment. Believe you me, those Calypsonians who toil in the vineyard tirelessly sometimes come out for the most part empty-handed. To use a local saying, Billy Button, work for nothing. And this is the gospel truth. We have here in the audience a reporter, an accomplished reporter. His name is William Anthony. He's also a Calypsonian who's going to be the sobriquet Koja. He can attest to this. But still, we are thankful because we have a role to play to ensure that our culture not only survive, but our culture strive. To have an authentic carnival, you must have pan, calypso, and mass. There's no other way you can have an authentic experience. And at this juncture, I'm happy to add, and hasten not in fact, and welcome the reintroduction of Monkey Band in St. Vincent and Grenadines, Vincent Mars. It is an important cog as well. I heard the minister spoke about Rural Carnival, and I want to big up Dill. But I myself, I've been urging for this. I want to see the Rural Carnival be a reflection of what is Vincent Mars. If we want this festival to survive and become strength to strength, the Rural Carnival must mirror what happens at the national level. And I have no doubt with our CEO and with the team that surrounds him, we are going to get there. 2026 is going to be bigger and better. Calypso needs your help. We cannot sit in a boardroom, all Cabinet and his executive, and think they have all the answers. We don't. We are far from perfect. We will make mistakes. We have made mistakes. We continue to make mistakes, and we will make mistakes because we are human. To err is to be human. But never let perfection be the enemy of the good. Don't be deterred You get knocked down, but not knocked out. You get up, you dust yourself off, and you go again. Because you have a mission to achieve. And no mission as it relates to Calypso and Carnival is possible. Once you have the conviction, the commitment, the dedication, and the right people around you, you will get there. So I'm urging the Vincentian public and those in the diaspora, those who are hearing me, who are seeing me, don't be afraid to be critical of all Carver Bennett and the Calypso, the St. Grenadines Calypso Association. It can only make us stronger. We had a good season. The vibes manifest themselves in the preliminaries. So much so, person asking us for the first time to extend the 10th season. I take this as a good sign. I take this as a sign, as an indication that you will come, well-intentioned Vincentian, to support Calypso next year, and we can start the 10th season earlier than we ever had. So we have like 5 or 4 shows before preliminaries. 2 shows before preliminaries is insufficient. But economics, finances dictate that you only have 2 shows because the support is not there. I've said it, and it will be a repeating, a recurrent theme. In Calypso, it is mainly, predominantly, a labor of love, but we'll continue to toil in the vineyard. I want to thank every one of you. If I start calling names, I know, not I may, I will miss a name. And some persons may hold a grudge. I don't want to hold any grudge against me. But I want to say to all of you, how big, how little you contributed. It was and is well received. We're not going to diminish any support we get. We're going to embrace it. We're going to say thank you, thank you. You have contributed in no small mean to the success of Calypso in 2025, and by extension, Vincent Mars and the cultural landscape in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I invite you to Vincent Mars next year. I invite you to the Calypso tent. Remember, we have the most affordable and the hottest carnival in the Caribbean. And to boot, we have the safest carnival in the world, not in the Caribbean, in the world. Remember, when you come to Vinci, expect one thing. We don't party normal, but still come. Blessings, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Cabo, Mr. Bennett.
Cabo's fine.
Your words are substantial, and we always value them. We do appreciate you. Now, this brings us to the end of our press conference, but before we do, Carnival would not have been possible without all the persons mentioned. And again, we thank you. Your worth, big or small, are appreciated. Now, just to give you a reminder of our dates for Carnival 2026, June 26th to July 7th. Mark the date, mark your calendars, and God's will, see you then. Thank you.
Baddest boy, baddest boy, baddest boy. We born bad and brave, but if it's one thing